a local lumber yard, a sign and manufacturing company, the Big Picture Cafe and Theater, and what's currently an underutilized warehouse building that was previously a wedding tent rental facility. We permitted a 9,000 gallon per day system through the indirect discharge program. We are using advanced treatment to sort of maximize what we can use out of a limited soil area. And we are, we're also using the advanced treatment because, you know, with the restaurant, the Big Theater Cafe, the wastewater is we recognize it as higher strength. We recognize that a lot of the potential users of the system and businesses that would want to be a part of this were proposing food processing and other higher strength wastewater discharges. So we ended up working with Aqua Point down in Massachusetts and ended up with an advanced treatment system discharging out to a disposal field, which is probably about 1,000 feet from sort of the pump station collection system for this project. We recently, one of the successes in terms of sort of the economic development approach and what the town is getting out of this, Lawson's Finest Liquids recently announced that they're working to permit a new home for their brewery in the underutilized warehouse and rental facility. So that's a really a big step for both Lawson's and for the town. And you know, they still have a long road to see if they can make all of that work, but it is definitely exciting to see how this program is helping local businesses grow and thrive in a town without a centralized wastewater system. I'll flash a sign for the Big Picture Cafe was featured on the cover of Vermont Life this spring. Just an example of another sort of innovative business. They've been around for 10 years. It's their anniversary this year. And they've become sort of a community meeting house for Waitsfield and the Mad River Valley. And a lot of events and functions happen there, as well as a lot of good movies and just a good place to go grab a beer or a bite to eat. So right now we are in the, I believe 2 years ago, we built one of the two dual alternating leach fields as sort of a remedial fix to the failing leach field. Right now we are constructing phase 2 of that project. We've built the second of the dual alternating leach fields, and in the coming weeks we'll be installing the advanced treatment system on the, if you look sort of in the distance here, this is an open field on the other side of Route 100, and back in here is where the commercial district is. So that's our biggest system currently underway in the program. The Irisville Business Park is also Robin Morris is one of the owners of that facility, and he was instrumental in sort of moving this program along and coming up with some of the ideas that helped us get where we are today. He has started the Mad River Food Hub out of his facility in the former Mad River Canoe Building. So it's kind of exciting to think about some of the agricultural synergies that I think we'll hear about later today. His business has allowed small food processors to have a commercial grade fully permitted kitchen to rent and help them process food store it as needed, and then and actually have a distribution system to bring it out to market in the state or beyond. Once again, his facility, because of the food processing, was higher strength wastewater, and we chose to maximize the leach field area and knock down that high strength wastewater using advanced treatment. Here's a picture of, also we worked with AquaPoint and used these two BioClear units, which are a trickling filter over a clarifier to help knock down the strength of that wastewater. Here's a picture of the mound disposal area for the park that was built last fall. This system's been up and running for around 6 months now and seems to be doing great. And then there's probably a half a dozen other systems that are taking advantage of the loan fund program, and a whole slew of others who sort of explored their wastewater options as part of this process and evolution. One of them, the town of Waitsfield, is actually building a new town office, partially as a result of flooding that happened in Irene. And this program was able to help fund the wastewater component of that property. We have a couple of other restaurants that are building new systems, and one potential new startup brewery that is going to be a much smaller scale than Lawson's, but they're using the program to sort of get the wastewater infrastructure they need for that. And then a local architectural firm with office buildings and a combined residential property is using the program to deal with really a substandard existing dry well that they've wanted to upgrade for some time now, and this allows them to have a modest increase in their capacity and solve a problem that they've been wanting to deal with for a while. So sort of to wrap up and give you a summary of the program, it's been really a long haul. There's a lot of behind the scenes legwork, and it really hasn't been as simple as on the surface it seems it should be. A lot of collaborators between the state of Vermont, regulators, the Facilities Engineering Division working with us, EPA, the Select Board, the Mad River Planning District, local landowners who are agreeing to easements, all the business owners who have sort of taken a leap of faith to move forward with this program. So there's been a lot of discussion, and it's exciting to sort of see it all come together. It's allowed us to upgrade a lot of outdated and either failing or on the verge of failing systems, and use modern technology to treat that wastewater more effectively. And then there's sort of the economic development piece of it, where it's providing opportunities for the business owners to finance a piece of the business that nobody really wants to think about over a long period of time, and allows for some modest growth and sort of adaptation of businesses and buildings. So I think it's an exciting opportunity for a lot of village centers in the state of Vermont, where many don't have centralized wastewater systems, and as many of you know, there really isn't the funding or the money to build those. So this is a good alternative, and I think over time, as some of the kinks of how to set up something like this get worked out, and the state becomes a little bit more accustomed to dealing with it, it's a great opportunity to solve wastewater problems in small communities. So that's it. Yeah.
what's really interesting is you do hear that some people stepped up to the plate. So in our previous two presenters, you've heard, somebody's willing to take on trying something new, working outside the box, and it's the action item process. People are willing to try something to make a difference for their community, and that's obviously really important. We're at a point in our state where the food economy, the beverage economy, the recreation economy are obviously important contributors to revenue. And I think about a place like Waitsfield that is not too far from my home base. And, it's interesting. We talk about water and wastewater, primarily for public health and environmental protection, but just as important is having that infrastructure to drive economic investment and sustain it. So it's really good to hear these examples of how this is promoting all three of those areas. So our next presenter, as has already been introduced, is Chris Pearl. So we'll have Chris come on up and talk about the large-scale water recycling that's taken place at Cabot Creamery's Vermont facilities. And that's multiple facilities. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Okay. So my name is Chris Pearl, and I am the production manager at Cabot Creamery. I've been there 16 years now, and this is the facility in Cabot that I run. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find another facility that's given the issue of water recycling and conservation as much attention as this group of people have. This Cabot was founded in 1919 by 94 local farmers. And this plant has been built upon up this hill ever since then. I've seen many changes in this facility over the years as far as bringing in new technologies and new innovations. So the topic I'm here to talk about today is water. This is the reverse osmosis system that we installed in Cabot 2 years ago to replace an older system. The old system would concentrate the solids in the way from 6% solids to 18% solids. This system concentrates from 6% solids to 30% solids. We worked with a company from Israel called Elanium to install a water pasteurization system that takes the water that we pull out of the way, pasteurizes it, and then we're able to comply with the pasteurized milk ordinance regulations that to make it possible for us to use that water in product contact surfaces. Let's see. So what did this do? This permeate water, it reduces the amount of well water that we have to use. The permeate water is very soft water. It has a very low mineral content and is less damaging to equipment. The process of removing that water from the way heats or keeps that water at a warmer temperature than well water, so we don't have to heat it as much and use as much fuel to do our cleaning practices. The other advantage of the lower mineral content is that it requires lower chemical concentrations in our cleaning process. And we save labor on the water that we have to land apply, and we also save fuel on the way that we're shipping to Middlebury. One of the primary methods that we use for cleaning in the facility is called clean in place, or CIP. This is a relatively new style of cleaning system. It replaced the old clean out of place. It's a method for disassembling components of equipment without taking it apart, and it saves a lot of water. This method cleans using chemistry, time, and high-speed water flows, and it really does create a significant water savings over COP. New system designs use a reuse tank where the post-rinse on the previous wash is used as a pre-rinse for the next wash. So instead of using fresh water every single time you rinse these tanks, you're actually reusing water from a previous wash. And there's also some enhanced computerized controls to help us monitor and regulate the chemical concentrations and the amount of water that's being used and the flows and the temperatures. So what has been the effect of all these innovations that we brought into the plant? You can see on the orange line on top, it shows the production pounds out of the Cabot facility. We've gone in 2005 from about 55 million pounds of product, where in 2015, we did a little over 90 million. And if you look at the green line, that is the amount of wash water we are generating through our processes. It's virtually stayed the same, even with all that increase in production. And the red line shows the amount of well water we're pulling out of the ground to wash the plant. And it's actually gone down. So you might wonder, how can that be? How can the wash water stay the same and the water go down? Well, the difference is it's that permeate that we're pulling out of the milk. Now, for every load of milk that comes into Cabot, 70% of that load ends up as water that we use to wash the plant. This is another way to look at this data. This is the yellow line is the permeate water that we send to our storage ponds per pound of production. So the green line is the wash water per pound of production, and the red line is the well water per pound of production. And as you can see, all those have dropped right off over the last 10 years. So what's in the future? We'll continue to explore new technologies and innovations. In all reality, a lot of the low-hanging fruit's already been taken, but we will put our attention into data systems and looking at the analytics and find those little tiny changes that we can make in order to make even more of a difference. We've also had our stakeholder engagement, where we're looking for ways to have tighter control over our pH systems on our wash water. And we're also exploring new opportunities for using that wash water on various applications. Thank you.
We'll have the panelists come on back up, and we have a little bit of time to receive some questions from the audience. Since I'm the moderator, I'm going to take first preference here and throw a couple at y'all. For Chris, I'm just curious if these processes are transferable to other industries, such as brewers or distillers. Should be good. Go ahead.
Is it working?
Should be good.
Many of them, I think, are. There's a lot of things that we had to do because of our restrictions with the USDA and the FDA that a lot of other industries won't have to do. We're under much tighter regulatory control. There's also considerations of their process and how the changes in the way they use the water will affect their process. But in general, we're probably one of the more difficult industries to do this for.
Okay, thank you. For Peter, you guys definitely took an innovative approach, and it's a public-private partnership in the truest sense. Do you have other communities that, I know you're just getting off the ground, getting construction just within this last year. Have you had any other communities approach you? Just talk about how you've navigated the process. Go ahead, Mike, if you would, please.
Testing. Not yet, really. We certainly looked at what else was going on in Vermont when we were trying to frame how we could structure the program. Colchester has a loan program that's